Since the reveal of Godzilla x Kong Supernova, there's been one titan that Legendary have been hinting towards, and that's SpaceGodzilla. This clone of the King of the Monsters was created when Godzilla's DNA found its way into a black hole which mutated at its core, and created the beast known as SpaceGodzilla. While the film has had its fair share of criticisms, the character has gone down in history as a fan favorite amongst the community, mainly thanks to being featured as the main antagonist for Godzilla Save the Earth and Unleashed. And for years now, rumors have been spilling out that this kaiju will make its way into the monsterverse, especially with the iwi myth of Zozlar Halawa, the monster that ate a star and became wicked. So when the announcement of Godzilla x Kong Supernova came, various signs have pointed towards the inclusion of this fan favorite kaiju. But what would this kaiju even look like in the monsterverse? Would it take a drastically different form, or would it be more faithful to the source material? Welcome home, resident, it's your Mayor Alistair back once again, and I've seen a few fan designs over the years, but recently this started popping up on Reddit. Claiming to be leaked concept art for Godzilla x Kong Supernova, we see a Monsterverse-style design, but bulkier with large crystalline protrusions sticking out its back. Now, comments were going wild with the rumor that this was leaked concept art, but is it really the case? Before we look into it, be sure to subscribe and stomp the notification button, because 70% of you aren't subscribed, and we need to close that gap. Do it, or else I'll send SpaceGodzilla to get you. Be sure to stick around to the end of the video, because we have an unboxing of the latest Godzilla Evolved Hiya figure. So, is this really concept art like some fans have been saying? Short answer, no. This is from an extremely talented artist, Go, who has rendered a fan-made interpretation of what a possible SpaceGodzilla could look like in Godzilla x Kong Supernova. And this is exactly how I imagine him looking in the film. Let's take a closer look, because this thing really is beautiful and deserves praise. Go has made some art that you might actually recognize, like this Destroyer design, which looks super creepy, or this awesome Cthulhu design. This guy is incredibly talented, so he went ahead and made his own spin on this iconic Godzilla clone. And it looks awesome. It looks like the result of what would happen if you took actual Godzilla DNA and twisted it, distorted and mutated it into something new. It looks painful. It looks wrong. Like this species wasn't designed to be built like this. And whilst the silhouette is extremely different from the source material, there's plenty of traits that hark back to that original design, like the mandibles, which were a Heisei staple, the crystalline formations bursting from his spine, with two of the most prominent ones by his shoulders, as well as the slight hint at a crest forming on his forehead. One thing I like about this design is that it's significantly bulkier and more muscly than the other Godzilla designs, like he's been supercharged. It's like the opposite of Godzilla Evolved. Instead of becoming slimmer and more lean, he's heavier and tougher, like a bodybuilder. And the hunched lean implies that this titan is incredibly massive and would tower over even the current King of the Monsters. If this really ended up being even close to what the final design for Monsterverse SpaceGodzilla is, I'd be extremely happy. But of course, we've discussed the origins for this titan. Based on what we know, it's more likely that instead of another Godzilla coming from space, something alien would land on Earth and mutate Godzilla into this twisted new form. And this design matches that theory. It looks like if you took our Godzilla and force evolved it into its next most powerful form, combining cosmic alien radiation with the might of the King of the Monsters. The 20 times power capacity of evolved Godzilla would be magnified to the sheer power of a supernova, and it's something that would be borderline unstoppable. But what do you think about this design? Let us know in the comments down below. As someone whose favorite kaiju is SpaceGodzilla, I'd be ecstatic if this was the design. But on the topic of evolutions, I want to talk about the new Hiya Godzilla figure, because it's been well over a year since the film came out, and fans have been patiently waiting. But does it live up to the hype? Let's find out. First things first, this isn't an ad. I was kindly sent this figure by INS Hobby, who supply all the Hiya figures at a discounted price, so if you want to pick this bad boy up, follow the link in the description and give them a thanks from me. So let's take a look at this thing. As we can see, the box is nicely detailed with bright pink decorations to match the new dorsal plates of evolved Godzilla. So overall nice, but what we really want to see is inside. So let's get this thing out of its plastic prison. With the figure, you get two closed fist hands, which you can swap out with the more open one that the toy comes with, which is nice. But of course we're here to see Godzilla, so let's caress this thing out of this bag, shall we? And there he is, Godzilla evolved. First impressions are, this looks massively screen accurate. Although taking a closer look at the dorsal plates, I see some of them are bent. Although this is probably because it's been inside that box for a while, it's nothing some heat won't fix, or simply bending it back into shape. Right, let's take a closer look at this thing. The head is on a swivel joint, which gives it a pretty decent range of articulation, although if positioned a certain way, there's a pretty noticeable gap between the head and neck, but that can be fixed with a rearrange of the neck piece. And of course the mouth opens, his arms also rotate 360 degrees, so you have full free range of movement there. And here you can see how far the elbow bends, which is a pretty decent amount. And then the hands also rotate a full 360 degrees. Taking a closer look at that torso, you get probably around 45 degrees of movement each way, which isn't loads, but it should be plenty for this kind of figure. It's definitely improvement over 2014, which you'll see later. You'll easily be able to articulate him in that exaggerated sprint from the film. He also tilts up that much, and down that much. So, a pretty decent amount. His legs also rotate 360 degrees. I don't know why you'd need that, but the option's there. And the lower parts of his leg move about that much, so not loads, but enough. And obviously his feet, if you're into that kind of stuff. And just taking a closer look at that dorsal plates, the details here are just astonishing. Honestly, this thing looks great, although you can see some of those bent plates, but the spine is pretty rubbery, so that should bend back into place easy. Now looking at the Thagomizer, it looks pretty screen accurate. If anything, they've actually increased its size, and as Hiya tradition, the tail has several joints for quite a wide range of movement, which is pretty cool. This figure really is stunning. It's got great paint, articulation, and so much detail. But before I give my final thoughts, let's do a quick size comparison. First off, we've got the Hiya Godzilla 2014 figure. It's a bit wider and chunkier, which can be expected since Gary Goji is a big unit. Putting them side by side makes it easier to see the differences, because 2014 can't quite stand up as tall due to that sheer bulk. But Evolved Godzilla has a wider range of movement, so he can stand quite a bit taller than 2014. Of course, 2014 still has a significantly longer tail. I really do miss that whip design from the original. But here you can see Evo Goji's tail is more muscular, which is obviously how he was able to play volleyball with Scar King. Now let's get something bigger along. Here comes Shimo, possibly my favorite Hiya figure. This thing is just beautiful, and as we get to see here, she's pretty massive. Though it's not entirely screen accurate, the real Shimo is actually quite a bit bigger, although the size difference isn't too bad here, especially if you make her stand up on her hind legs to beat the crap out of Godzilla. And there's all of them side by side. Lovely. Just lovely. This figure has become one of my favorites. It's not perfect with the neck joint problems and those bent dorsal plates. It has a more rubbery feel than Hiya's previous figures, which some people might actually prefer. But overall, this figure gets 2 thumbs up from me. I definitely recommend. And this is what, a third of the price of the SH Monster Arts figure? Considering the details on this thing, that is ridiculous value. So that's my Hiya Godzilla unboxing and review. Bye bye from me in person, handing it back to Voice Alistair. Like I said, the link is in the description if you want to get your hands on Evo Goji. But what do you think of this SpaceGodzilla design? And would you be happy for Godzilla to mutate and evolve into something like this in Godzilla X Kong Supernova? Let us know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe and stomp the notification button to become a resident of Dangerville today. And give this video a big old like to support the channel. I've been Alistair, and we'll see you residents in the next one.